first exhibition. How are things going with all the people back and practicing? How's it all looking?
Yeah, I mean, we're happy. It's so early to really try to say where we're at. I hate comparing to previous years because you forget, how far ahead you might be. But what I'm happy with is the effort. Our kids are playing hard. The competition's very good. The majority of the team came back in good physical condition, which is obviously in our sports crucial because you train for 2 weeks and then you play. It's not enough time to really get kids into soccer shape. But so the majority of them took care of that in the summer, which is nice. And then, just trying to integrate some of the new kids into what we try to do here. So it's overall, I'm happy, I'm pleased, but it's just way too early to try to say where we are. I think most coaches would tell you the same thing. We're working hard, the kids are excited, and we're looking forward to that exhibition game with Tulsa.
I know it's hard to know with 2 weeks, like you mentioned, but you talked about back in the spring of trying to find goal scorers, trying to place two really good ones in Marlowe and Haley. Have you kind of whittled it down to at least 4 or 5, or is it still open competition for you think it's going to be?
Yeah, we've got an idea of who we think can get it done. We haven't really done a whole lot of attacking play. Any attacking we've done has just been within the context of playing soccer, but we've worked more on our shape, our defending, our movement without the ball, which I think is quite common in preseason. Most people try to get that stuff right before you worry about breaking teams down. But, a lot of familiar faces. You're going to have JC Jones, Julia Lenhart, Grace Yoakum. Those are kids we know can score. We added Gabriella last spring, and she's dangerous. And then we've brought in Olivia Dow, who's another really good attacking kid. So we'll see. I mean, that's the group that we'll lean on. We also get a lot of contributions from our white players like Charmaine Morgan, who didn't play last year, Hannah Webb. Those kids will contribute. And then, of course, Kim isn't back yet. She was with Mexico, and she gets back Sunday, I think. But she's a kid that's real dangerous on set play. So, this early on is tough to say, but I would guess that we're probably looking at scoring by committee. I'm not sure there's going to be 1 or 2 kids that we're leaning on. I think it's going to be the whole group are going to have to kind of chip in, probably.
What's it mean to have Charmaine back this year, and how's she doing health-wise?
It's awesome. She played and trained all spring, but she was just getting back. I mean, that's a 7-8 month injury, and when you miss that much time in your sport, it takes a little bit to get back, not just physically, but just mentally. You lose confidence and you feel like you're not playing at the same level. And I just talked to her last night, and to me it looks like she's back to where she was prior to the injury. She's confident, she's got her pace, her change of speed back. And so what it means to the team is, in the shape we play with wing backs, the demand on that position is huge. They have to get up and down the flank, and they have to be relentless and just keep running. And that was one of our biggest things the year before when we had so much success was, we had Charmy on one flank and Hannah Webb on the other, and then Claire Ganser was spelling them and getting a lot of good minutes. So between the three of them, we always had attacking threats in the flank. We didn't so much have that last year because as soon as Charmy went out, it was a huge piece. So it's huge having her back. She just inspires everybody because she plays so hard, and having that pace out there is a big deal. Yeah.
Coach, you mentioned Kim, and she gets her first senior national team goal.
Yeah.
What is it to not only have someone playing at that level, but having some success at that level? What does that mean for your program?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, we were talking this summer, at one point this summer we had AD Franch, we had Kim with Mexico, we had Kumba playing for Switzerland, and then we've had Courtney playing for Nigeria. So it's really cool when you see the success that some of those players are having, have had in the international stage. It's just really awesome. And for Kim to do what she's doing, she's just going to be a junior in college, and she's already getting starts and minutes for the Mexican national team. And Mexico are a very strong country. It's not as if she's playing on a team that's not very good internationally. They're good. And, for her to get the goal was just probably a huge moment for her. So I think there's bigger things to come from Kim. I think she's improved each year here, and I would expect the same again this year.
How have your freshmen looked in their first kind of foray into college soccer?
Good. It was it's a high number class, but as far as really recruited kids, it was a pretty small class because we didn't graduate that many. So the kids that we signed early on scholarships, Olivia Dow is a very good player. Our fans are going to love watching her. She's exciting. She's very skillful. She's got tricks. She's good 1v1. So she's a really exciting prospect. We lost Peyton Vinci this summer, a kid out of Wichita, Kansas. She got injured in the summer, so she'll be out for the fall, unfortunately. And she's a forward that we were expecting to contribute, so that was a bummer to find that news out in the summer. Rebecca George, a kid we got late, who set the Oklahoma high school scoring record last year. Rebecca's done well. She's going to have to adjust physically to the speed and the pace of the game, but she's a very, very good soccer player who has the ability to score. So those kids have done well. And some of the other kids that, have walked on, they're playing hard. They're competing. There's one or two that have caught our eye who might be able to contribute this year. So it's, again, it's so early. What we're looking for right now is just the effort, the mentality, the competitiveness. I mean, those are the things we want to see. And then just dealing with some adversity. They're all tired. It's like day 4 or 5. We've beat them down a little bit, and you want to see, who can fight through that, because that's what's going to happen during the season. And it's nice to see which kids can respond to being tired and being fatigued and trying to figure it out.
Even though you lose all the offensive players, a lot of depth coming back in the midfield, a lot of leaders in that spot. How nice is it to kind of have the strength there in the midfield?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at sort of our back line into midfield, we're really good. We get Charmaine back, which makes a huge difference. We return just about everybody else back there. Same in the midfield, Yoakum, Lenhart, Jones, Huddleston. I mean, they're really good players. So from in that middle part of the field, we look really strong. We're experienced. We can pass the ball quite well. We're physical enough. We do a lot of good things. Now, what we have to do, in my opinion, what we have to be a little bit better at is in front of our own goal, we have to be a little bit tougher to score on. That's not just goalkeeping. We need to keep our step up a little bit, but our backs have to play a little bit better in our own final third. And obviously, as we talked about, scoring goals. Those will be two of the big things that we'll focus on, not so much right now, but as we start moving forward. But yeah, that middle part of the field, we look very good, and I would expect that to be one of the strengths of the team.
Go ahead, Jim. Starting year 2 in the stadium, has its impact on recruiting been noticeable to this point?
It's been a little bit, because in our sport and a lot of sports now, we recruit so far ahead. But the international kids that we recruited a couple of years ago, it made an impact to show them the video and the plans. Gabriella, who transferred from Mississippi State, she came on a visit, and obviously we got to show her this. So it hasn't been a huge impact on recruiting yet. As we start really getting into 21, 22, 23 grad years, those are the kids that will be taking their visits, and we'll be bringing them into the completed stadium, and they'll watch a game, in the crowd, the Orange Outlaws and all that stuff. So that's when I think you'll see it. So as we hit maybe 21, but certainly 2022 and 2023 recruiting classes, I would like to think that's when we'll start to see a huge impact in our recruiting.
You officially moved in here? Or?
Yeah, we're using it. It's not 100% completed. There's still some punch list stuff getting touched up, but we're in the locker room. We're in the meeting rooms. Obviously, we've got our nutrition area. We've got all the stuff that we need to function on a daily basis. They're just touching up one or two things to finish it off before the school year starts.
How are the girls liking so far?
Well, you can ask them here. I see them both smiling over there, but I mean, it's amazing. They're first of all, they're very thankful. They're a good group of kids, and they understand how lucky they are to have somewhere like this to go home. It's amazing, and if they ever forget, we'll remind them. I promise you. But no, they're loving it, and then the convenience. We show up here, we go to the training room, we go out to practice, they come back in, they change, they get their nutrition stuff, and they go home. It's just unbelievable. It makes a huge difference in their daily life. So as a student athlete, this is amazing. But I'll let them tell you a little bit more about it. I'm sure JC's pretty shy. She might not say a whole lot.
How cool was that to show that off, though? WPSL had their Final Four here. I mean, how cool was that to kind of showcase that to the biggest professional league in the world?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the WPSL people couldn't say enough great things about the facility, and they didn't even get to utilize the whole thing, but they were just so thankful, and we were really happy to host them. I was out of town, so I didn't get to see the games, but I was keeping up with it. From all accounts, the soccer was fantastic. There's some really good players, and we're hoping to make this an annual thing, and now that the stadium will be completely functional, hopefully we can promote it a little bit better and try to get a lot of the soccer community to come out and watch, because the level of play is fantastic, the facility is unbelievable, so hopefully we can make this a thing and grow it. And I think that's where the administration are. They want to make it kind of like Omaha, Nebraska is known for the baseball deal. Well, could we be known in July that this is a kind of a hotbed for soccer? I think that's the goal.
So with the new stadium, you're bound to have more people that don't understand. Maybe I've watched a lot of soccer.
Yep.
So what would you say? What are some couple tips for people that don't?
The first thing I would do is I would go in the north end zone and sit with the Orange Outlaws, because that's the cool environment. I mean, if you want to get immersed in a soccer environment, a culture, you go in with the real fans that know the game and they sing and chant and get into it. So that'd be one thing. But if that's not your thing, I mean, obviously, when you're watching the game, I think a lot of people don't realize how physical it is. You think soccer, a lot of people think of rec and recreational soccer, and it's just kind of fun, and your kids play for fun, and you watch these guys play, and they get after each other, So I think just be ready for some real good physical confrontations, and then some of the subtleties. I mean, when you watch some of the skill it takes to serve a ball 45 yards and to volley it out of the air into the top corner or head it into the goal, that's not easy. And so when you start getting up close and you're closer to the field, closer to the action, you start realizing how difficult some of those techniques are. So maybe that's a couple of things.
And for like some of the rules, it's kind of can be difficult to follow.
Yeah, the offside rule, I'm not even going to try to explain because it changes. There's phase 1 and phase 2 now, and handball, what's a handball and what's not. So yeah, I mean, I would say go online and just kind of read up on it because, yeah, clearly we don't always know the rules either.
Coach, maybe a tough question to ask. I know last year, four or five Big 12 losses with 1 goals.
Yeah.
Is it something to work on, or is it that's just kind of the way the game is sometimes?
Honestly, I think it was well documented last year. If we didn't suffer as many injuries as we did, there's no way we're losing all those games. It's just not going to happen. That's the first thing. Now, having said that, we were in position to do a little better in some of those games, and we didn't get the job done. There's no doubt about that. And that's where I think our emphasis has to be in our own 18 defending. That's goalkeeping and defending. We gave up some of the goals we gave up. I thought were soft from our standpoint and preventable, and we need to do a better job. So maybe it means a goalkeeper not giving up a rebound and actually sticking the shot. Maybe it means a defender following up because the goalkeeper might spill. So little things like that we can certainly do better. And then in the final third, as you said, we lost some of our firepower last year, and so we just weren't as dangerous, but we still had some opportunities that we didn't put away. So we've talked to our team about that, and also set plays. I think if we can be a little bit better and more dangerous on set plays, that might be a way we can, manufacture some goals if we're having trouble scoring.
Are injuries something you can help prevent it, or it just happens fine, right?
There's obviously some things you can do, but last year was a freak year. I've been here over 20 years. We've only had one other year where I thought it was similar as far as the number of injuries at one time. Over the course of a year, kid might pull a hamstring, twist an ankle, whatever. But to lose, by the end of the season there, we had 6 starters out. That's just bizarre. There's not many teams in the country that can compete at this level with that many. And the fact that we were in all those games, I actually take that as a positive. We didn't get blown out. We weren't getting, we played West Virginia, TCU, Texas Tech. I mean, these are good teams. And all the games were competitive. We just didn't quite have enough. So hopefully we stay healthy. And I would hope that some of those close games go our way. Yeah.
You're still looking to split time at goalkeeper?
Good question. Too early to say. I think I've compared it in the past to the quarterback in football. I think most coaches would agree you'd rather have a starter and a backup. However, if you've got 2 evenly matched players in that position, you try to utilize both until such time as one of them separates. And that's where we are, to be quite honest. We're looking for separation. I would love to have what you would consider a starter and a backup. If we get to that point, wonderful. We'll manage that with the players. And they're aware of that. They understand that. But at the same time, if they're both deserving of getting minutes, then we're going to play them. And that's, if you think back 2 years ago, we had Michaela and Tanya splitting early on, and then we started going with Michaela because we just felt like she had separated. We started last season the same way, and we did not feel like there was separation. And this year, they both get a fresh start, and we see what happens.